Kickboxing is not something that we have dedicated too much time on the programme to, so we're going to correct that tonight. I'm joined in studio by two multiple world champions, including a history maker, the first Irish woman to become a professional kickboxing world champion, Natalie McCarran, and trainer and promoter Paddy Toland. Good evening to you both.
Good evening, Damien. Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you indeed for making the long journey down from Donegal. Paddy, to chat to yourself, how big a sport is kickboxing in Ireland? How big is the community that exists around the country?
Kickboxing in Ireland is massive. Every town, every city has a kickboxing gym in it. Doesn't get a lot of media coverage, but it doesn't. It keeps on going, no matter, and it keeps growing and growing through Facebook, through different things. It just keeps going, competitions all the time, and it's huge. It's huge out there, you know. And as I say, the more media we can get involved, people will see that, you know.
And yet we have a three-time world champion at three different weight levels, chasing a fourth world title later on this year. Natalie, how did you get involved?
I started off kickboxing as I went down there for the fitness, and then I decided to give the fighters class a go, and from there I fell in love with the sport and still am. It's just a great way of keeping fit and just sorry.
I was going to say. Well, no. I was going to ask. Does there come a point when something that has started off as a hobby, effectively, or a way of getting fit? When do you realise, you know, I've got a bit of talent here. I can go on and win championship belts.
You just have to take on board what everybody tells you, and start believing in yourself, and then through time your confidence builds up, and each fight, every time you won, your confidence grows as well.
But this is obviously a woman with fantastic talent and maybe fantastic natural ability.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. As I say, she has lots of talent and lots of dedication. Nothing's ever bothered her. She's in the gym at 5 o'clock every morning. She's back in the evening again. She's in the gym 3 times a day, and that's 6 days a week. Coming up to a fight, and never misses. And totally dedicated to her sport, you know. And
for you to have the level of success you've had and to maintain it at the top level in the sport, is the quality in Ireland in terms of potential opponents that, you know, can keep you at that level, or do you have to do a lot of travel around Europe and the world to find sparring partners, find training partners?
Usually have to travel to get sparring partners, or Paddy would fly ones in to spar with me. Would have sparred with ones from Dublin, Galway, but mostly England. You fly out and do their sparring with them.
And is there a living to be made in this? Is it possible?
The more sponsorship we get, the more people become and realise how big the kickboxing actually is, and the more sponsors. I think that's the way forward for us to get, as I say, more sponsors involved in it. That's where the money really be, through them. But until that time comes, the money just wouldn't be at the same level as the UFC or anything like that, you know. But we just keep going forward and keep pushing it, and you know, and showing people how good a sport it is, you know.
And overall, like, what depth of talent do we have available here? Are there people that should be household names, or people that have the ability to follow in Natalie's footsteps and win these big belts?
Yes, we have a lot of people at that level of, you know, coming through, and a lot of young people coming through. As I say, Ireland's got a really strong influence of martial arts in general, and a lot of these sports, and kickboxing in general. It has a lot of talent, so it has a lot of future champions there as well.
We've spoken on the programme over the past couple of weeks of, you know, Conor McGregor and Cathal Pendred and the Irish guys who are starting to cut a march for themselves in mixed martial arts. Does all of that feed back into sports like kickboxing? People see that on television, they see the glamour of it and want to be involved.
Yeah, well, as I say, Ireland in general has been at the top of the world in kickboxing in general. I mean, Natalie's a 3 times world champion. I have all world champions in the gym as well, and throughout Ireland there's world champions as well, you know. So we've always been at the very top of that sport. As I say, long before UFC came along, we've been pushed for the last 20 or 25 years at kickboxing. It's just that we've never had the recognition that, you know, it deserves, you know, in that case, you know.
It must be remarkably difficult to balance all the aspects of life and maintain the challenge and the fitness that's required to compete at the level and have the success that you've had.
It's just pure dedication, really. If you put the hours and if you put the hours in, you'll become a champion.
Do people think you're mad when they hear what you do?
Yeah, the main question: how would you be bothered, more or less, doing all the hours? But it's just a sport that I'm dedicated to, and every training session is different. I love every minute of it, and I'm sitting here with 3 world title belts, so that's my goal. That was my goal towards the training.
And how are you fixed for a 4th? Has the hard work started for that already?
We've started going to up the gear now soon, so November is the next show where I'll go and challenge for a 4th world title. So,
what chance would you give her?
Oh, I give her.
Granted, she is sitting beside you.
Yeah, no, as I say, I mean, there's not too many girls in the world that's, you know, everybody around the world knows Natalie, you know, so there's not a lot of. The reason why we move up the weights is because nobody really wants to fight her, so we move up and move up.
Good complaint.
So it is a good complaint, but I mean, when you see her in the ring, or if you've seen her on she's been on Sky Sports, and if you see her on TV, you see a reason why, you know, she's really, really, really good, you know, and as I say, it's 10 rounds, she's really fit to do that at her ease, you know.
They talk about, you know, success breeding success, and you know, if you will allow me to draw the comparison with Katie Taylor, the success Katie had at the Olympics, and what that has done for young girls walking into boxing clubs around the country, presumably it's likewise in kickboxing.
Yes, exactly the same, and as I say, against Natalie and Donegal and Spires, we have so many young girls in the club, it's unbelievable. It's nearly more than guys, it's over half now, and it's all down to Natalie, you know.
How do you channel that then to increase the profile of the sport overall? Because, you know, if you travel the world, you know, all sports compete for airtime and for media coverage, but kickboxing is far more prominent in certain territories than perhaps it is in Western Europe. Yeah,
well, I mean, and we just have to keep pushing that, as I say. Like, so when we go to Germany, there's a girl in Germany, and she's the 3rd most popular sports person in Germany in kickboxing. Kickboxing's shown live on TV all the time, you know, so we have to try and get to that same level where, you know, the girls or whatever, the fighters noticed, you know. So we just keep on pushing, you know.
Do you ever have any concerns about your safety? Like, there's a family at home, there's little people in your life, you know, is it all worth the risk, or is there a risk?
Well, there's a risk in every sport. You're taught to cover yourself up, and you might get away with a few bruises or nothing. I've nothing ever had anything broken.
Okay.
But it's just a chance you take, really.
It's one you take. I don't think I'll venture near. Even trying to lift the belts that you brought in, I struggled with that. Paddy, if people want to get involved or people want to find out more about the sport, what's the best way to go about it?
Yeah, we'll say we're on Facebook, because a lot of the people we've been friends with, we have thousands and thousands of Facebook friends. So we're in PT's Gym on Facebook. Is probably the best for most people trying to contact us, you know. So they can contact us on that, so they can. And
then maybe, like, to extend it across the country, it's just a case of get on Google, find the local club, and
as I say, if you go on Google, you'll find loads of clubs and kickboxing. As I say, it's huge out there. Once you start looking at it, you see it. It is huge everywhere. Every city, every town's got a kickboxing club.
Okay.
You know?
We wish you only the best with the pursuit of more world titles. We'll certainly keep a keen eye on your progress and the progress of other people around the country. Thank you both for coming into us.
Thank you, Damien.
Natalie McCarran, and trainer and promoter Paddy Toland. 51552 is our text number. Interesting. It's one of these things that we say it time and time again. We are always so keen to bring stories of Irish success on a sporting level. So on that note, kickboxing certainly has deserved its time in the spotlight tonight. We've plenty more still to come. We're going